send it back to us, and we call that women's intuition. I call it spider senses from Spider-Man. You know, when you starts to tingle? I don't care what you call it. It's a pre-incident indicator or a PIN. The subconscious mind has caught a piece of information in the environment, the people there or the environment itself, and it is telling you something is not right. If something feels not right, it is not right. You need to metaphorically and physically step away from the encounter and try to figure out what's not right. If you cannot articulate it, you immediately do something safer than you were about to do it. You use good tactics. So you're at the mall. It's dark. You're getting ready to walk outside. You get the creepy feeling that somebody's following you or there's somebody waiting for you. You have three options. Forge ahead, which is idiotic. Call for a security escort, or wait for a group of people to walk out with them, right? There's some options you have. Most people do number one, all right? Because it's too much of an inconvenience to do it the other way. I'm just being foolish about this, right? So let's say you take option 2 and you have the security guard escort you to your car. Put you in his little truck and he drives you to your vehicle, right? You get out. After you say thank you to that guy, what's the next thing most of you say to him? I am so sorry. I'm sorry to inconvenience you. This was so stupid. I feel so foolish. Right? And you get in your car and you drive away and you say, God, that was embarrassing. That was so dumb. Nothing happened. Right? Well, duh. Right? Why did nothing happen? Why did nothing happen? Because you had a security guard there. You did something different, something better tactically, and that created ripples in the pond, right? That changed the encounter. Here's the thing about prevention, folks. You'll never know what you prevent. You'll never get feedback on it. The only feedback you get is, you got home safely. So what did you do? You did it right. That's the key. You will know when you do not do it right. That's the problem with prevention. We go, oh man, I feel so stupid. Now here's the cool thing about this. That security guard, that's the coolest thing he's going to do today. He's going to go home and tell his wife, I had an escort tonight. Right? You're keeping him employed. You should feel really good about yourself. You did it the right way. So when the elevator doors open and there's a creepy guy in the elevator and you go, ooh, jeez, ooh. How many of you get on the elevator with the creepy guy? Come on, tell me the truth. Because research shows 84% of you get on the elevator with him. Why would you get on a solid steel soundproof chamber with someone you do not trust? Why would you do that? What? I didn't hear you. Say it again.
You don't want to hurt his feelings.
There you go. You don't want to hurt the creepy guy's feelings. All right? You don't think this guy knows he's creepy? You're not the first one to it. Jeez, what happened to you? Right? You're not the first person did that to this guy. He knows he's creepy. So what you do is go, ooh, I got to go down. I'm going up. I need exercise. I forgot a file. Or I'm not getting on the elevator with you. I don't care what you say, but you do not get on the elevator. You do not have people behind you, near you don't trust. At the instinctive level, you are picking up information they are putting off. And none of us, we cannot not communicate. Okay? You are communicating all the time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You are putting off information. Can you tell what mood the boss is in before they ever say a word to you? Oh, not that they'd ask for a raise, right? Because you can tell, can't you? The way they move, the way they walk, the aura they put off. We all send that message out. Bad guys read it in us, and we read it in them. So if you pick up that piece of information and you go, I don't trust this person or this scenario, immediately give yourself distance and time and figure it out. If you can't figure it out, do something that's safer than the way you were about to do it. If you get home safely, if it turns out okay, you did it right. Don't ridicule yourself for that. You constantly need to be scanning for these kinds of threats. And when you scan close to far. not far to close. All right? Because the threat that is closest to you is the most dangerous threat. Okay? So always look in environments from here out. When we go to a restaurant, they never seat us where they want. Never. Now, that does not make the hostess happy, and I really don't care. I'm going to pick a seat that's closest to an exit, my back is to the wall, and I can see who's coming in and out the door. Now, some people go, well, that's a little paranoid. Paranoia is total awareness. I do not control a lot of that's going on in that environment, so I want to be able to see it and read it. As I'm walking through the restaurant, I look into the face of every single person I pass. I'm assessing those people. And I'm looking at the environment and I'm going, no problem, no problem, problem. Okay? That's all I'm doing. And as I walk past 99% of the people, I go, I can deal with this, I can deal with this, I can deal with that. Then I go, ooh, if there's going to be a problem, this is where it's going to be. The next question in my mind is, can I handle it? Or do we need to get out of here? All you're doing is forcing yourself to be aware. Me and my partner work together on crime prevention. Whenever we eat lunch together or whatever, we play these games with ourselves. We sit down at the dining room table, or we sit down at the dinner table or whatever, and we're at a restaurant. What's the first thing the hostess walks up and tells you? Her name, right? He'll go to me and go, what's her name, as she walks away? Right? I wasn't paying attention. Or what color were her eyes? By forcing yourself to pay attention to small detail, you notice things in the environment you don't normally notice. You've got to be aware. That is the #1 key. Secondly, by being aware, it allows this intuitive component to kick in, and you always trust it. As a police officer, we all have contact with situations where we read into it what's going on, and we do things we can't later explain because they're intuitive. The most dramatic story I have from my career is several years ago I stopped a car coming out Salem Avenue. It was moving very quickly. I did not have Razor radar, so I didn't know how fast the car was going, but it was going too fast. So I stopped the vehicle. As soon as I stop it, I know something's not right. So I immediately call for another cruiser to back me up because I know I have an 84% chance reduction in being assaulted or killed with a second cruiser on the scene. That second officer changes my safety exponentially. So I've got him on the way. But he's too far away for me to wait, so I got to walk up and make contact with the violator. When I get to the driver window, the passenger and the violators, their conduct, their behavior does nothing but make me more aware that something very bad is going on. I go back to my vehicle and I'm waiting for my backup. While I'm waiting for backup to arrive, they dispatch me on a shooting call. I can no longer do the traffic stop. So I walk up to the window, throw the driver's license in, and I say, your lucky day. Little did I know whose lucky day it was. About 2 hours later, a detective called me and said, hey, meet me at the 5th District headquarters. I get there and he says, did you stop a Burgundy Olds 88 about 7:30 this morning? I say, I did. I think it was a stolen car. He goes, well, I don't know if it's stolen or not. But he said they were going to shoot you. He had a confidential informant sitting in the back seat of the vehicle, and they were discussing shooting me as I was back at my vehicle. He got away from them and called the detective and said, hey, just want to let you know, a Dayton policeman almost got shot today. Fate intervened for me, but I knew at the very beginning of the stop something was not right with these folks. You have got to trust it because you'll never be able to explain it sometimes. We've all walked into a room and went, something's different here. And it's not till much later that we figure out the walls are a different color, right? Or there's a new picture hanging up. So we catch that at the subconscious level. It sends it back as an alert to us in many forms. Uneasiness, stress, fear, whatever you want to call it. We have got to trust that. Step away from the scenario and go, what should I do? And do something safer than you're about to do it. Okay, those two pieces I've just given you, awareness and intuition, are the two critical pieces of survival. If you do those two things, you're 100% ahead of everybody else because they aren't doing any of those things. We don't trust our intuition for a lot of reasons. And you know, women are better at intuition than men are. Women have a part of the brain called the corpus callosum, which is the center part of the brain which ties the right and the left hemisphere together. It is thicker and it is wired differently than men's brains. So they actually pick up intuitive signals better than we do. The problem is they trust them less than we do. Men tend to trust their intuitive feelings more. They get less of them, but we trust them. Women tend to second guess their intuitive feelings for a lot of different reasons. Don't do that. You'll never be able to explain it, but it does work. And you can ask any one of these officers in the room. They'll all have stories about that for you. The other thing I want you to do is start acting and thinking tactically. No matter what it is you're doing, have a plan for it. You know, have enough gas in your car, have a map, have a route to get there. Have a plan, and have a plan B. All right? If something doesn't work, have another way to do it. Can't tell you the number of times I'm blocking traffic and somebody goes, I need to get there. Okay, well, there's like 38 other roads to that place, right? This is the only route I know. Really? You've driven this route for how many years, and you've never thought, I may need another route here one day? So have a plan B. Be prepared. Okay, and I'm not going to hit this very hard, but I just want you to be prepared. The number of times I've had people stop me, or I'm sure these guys have had them stop them, when they'll say, I'm looking for so-and-so. And I'm saying, well, you're not even in the right city. And they've got a Google map or a MapQuest map, which I think whoever does those maps is on mescaline, okay? Because he takes you the most ridiculous route there, thinking there's got to be a faster way, okay? Just have a plan B, and I want you to improvise, adapt, and overcome. Have a plan. By having some plan, if something critical occurs, you have at least a foundation to start from. Now, I understand, and Robert E. Lee said it better than anybody could say it. He said that no battle plan survives first contact with the enemy. I understand that. But at least you have some foundation to work with. If you have nothing, no plan, and you forge ahead, ultimately bad things happen. And people say, well, you know what? By planning things out too much, it spoils serendipity. All right? Crime spoils serendipity. So make sure you have a plan of some kind, all right? That's all I want you to do. I'm not going to hit that very hard. Presence is critical. I told you earlier that bad guys do not randomly pick victims. And seldom is it an ambush scenario. They read people like a book, and we cannot not communicate. We are always putting off information. The way you dress, the way you move, the way you stand, the way you breathe, the gestures you have, the eye contact or lack of eye contact that you have sends a very clear message. If I were to pluck one of you from the audience, stand you up here and say, I want you to give a 5-minute presentation, could we tell immediately whether you're comfortable here? Sure we could. And you don't have to say anything, do you? Because immediately the body language changes and the message we send off says, I don't like it here, I'm uncomfortable here, I'm afraid. Bad guys read this. What goes on in your brain gets projected out here. What you think you are. You will be treated in life the way you expect to be treated by other people. The way you dress, move, and behave sends a very clear message to others about how you expect to be treated. If they look at you and say, you don't care about yourself, why should I care about you? And that is a truism. So what happens here is critical. This is called state management. There are 2 tools you have for state management, focus and physiology. That's it. So I'm going to give you 2 different days. He wakes up this morning, and when he gets out of bed, he stubs his toe on the bed. As he's shaving, he cuts himself, so he has to put toilet paper on his face. And every time he peels it off, he bleeds more, so now he's wearing a piece of toilet paper to work today. He gets dressed, and he puts his clothes on and goes, man, these pants must be shrinking. I don't feel so good in these pants today. I don't look so good. I don't feel good in my clothes. He gets to the coffee place to pick up his cup of coffee, and when the young lady sets it on the counter, she didn't put the lid quite right on, so as he picks it up, it falls off and spills coffee on his shirt. So now he's got a stain on his shirt, toilet paper on his feet, and the foot that hurts, right? He gets to work, and the boss yells at him because he's late. He gets home that night, and this kid says, Dad, I wrecked the car. What's going to happen to that kid? His body's going to be in the backyard, right? The same day, he gets up in the morning, he does not stub his toe, he does not cut his face, he puts his clothes on and goes, I look sexy today. I'm going to impress somebody. He gets to the coffee place, the young barista behind the counter says, you look good today. gives him his cup of coffee, which he does not spill on himself. He gets to work early, and the boss says, we appreciate you getting here early so that you can do some work and help the company grow. He gets home, and his kid says, Dad, I wrecked the car. Are you okay? Isn't that what happens in life? Because, see, most people get up in the morning in a condition of neutral, and they allow the events of the day and the people they come into contact with to affect how they think and behave. That's exactly the opposite way it should be done. Because research shows us that 80% of the thoughts that you have in your brain fall at or below the negative line most of the time. We are masters at brutalizing ourselves with our brain. Every time we're having a good day, the brain will say, yeah, but remember in 1972? Right? And you're, oh man, I was having such a good day too. Right? Our brains are great at that. They love to remind us of all the times we failed, or feel we didn't do our best, or didn't succeed, or all the things we don't think we're good at. All of our shortcomings. I don't have any friends. Right? That's the deletion, distortion, and generalization piece. So if I know 80% of my thoughts fall at or below the negative line, and most of the thoughts you have every day are the same thoughts you had yesterday, right? How many of you wake up and go, oh my God, that's a new thought. That's brand new. Where did that come from? Right? No, no, no. You read the same magazines, think the same thoughts. I bet you if you go into the cafeteria in here, they're having the same conversation they had in 1992 about the same stuff. We tend to do the same things, don't we? Complain and whine about the same stuff over and over again, don't we? Have the same conversations. You go, didn't we talk about this Tuesday? And last Tuesday and the Tuesday before that? So if we